Welcome to the Plato Paradigm, a paradigm shift in reading Plato's dialogues. Episode 51, Euthyphro 10a. I ended last time talking about the souls in the degmata of the paradigmata, the examples of the paradigms, and it might be worth giving an example before we carry on. And this is the example we have already discovered in Hippias Minor. That dialogue was a dramatic representation of dynamis, power or ability, and Plato divided it into social ability and technical ability, which can both be used wrongly to allow the user to appear good to the many. If ability is used correctly, it is in order to benefit others and not simply to appear. In fact, the person who uses ability correctly may even appear to be bad. The minimal concrete representations of these aspects of the idea of ability were the aristocrat, the sophist, and the dialectician. These are the paradigmata. And Plato gave us degmata, or examples. The paradigma is beside the degmata. He added details to these paradigms. In other words, the characters we see in the dialogue are these paradigms, but with additional details. And he gave us Hippias the sophist, Eutychus and all the others who were aristocrats, and Socrates the dialectician, all these being degmata. The point I want to make now is that the paradigms already had souls, in that Plato had to show that ability may be abused or used correctly. When it is used wrongly, in order to allow someone to appear to be good, this is already a motivation, and that motivation must be part of the soul. It is the soul which thinks, the soul which desires. Therefore, even the paradigm has a soul. And then when details are added to the characters, details are also added to the souls themselves. They have more than just the basic motivation. Of course, Plato could have represented ability with other things, such as a rock. A rock has ability or power, it can crush things, but you won't get much of a dialogue out of rocks, and rocks are not very helpful for people. Plato did, after all, write the dialogues for creatures who could read, and these tend to be human beings. Now, are we supposed to simply use the characters as role models? No, we're supposed to use the characters as the extremes, the actual aspects, by comparison between which we may understand the entire idea more fully. It is not Plato's intention, therefore, that we attempt to behave like Socrates. This is not even the historical Socrates. This is simply a made-up character based on the paradigma of the dialectician with features from the historical Socrates. In this dialogue, we don't yet know what idea the characters represent, or which aspects of an idea they represent, but we shouldn't be afraid to say that they have souls. They clearly think and feel and make plans, which is why, after all, they meet in front of the Stoa Basileus. They both have upcoming trials, and they are there to submit their depositions. Talking about court cases, Euthyphro has just jumped at the chance to keep his prosecution of his father holy. Socrates has suggested that the holy is what all the gods love, and Euthyphro himself has reformulated it as if it was his own idea, and he's removed the problematic things which are loved by some gods and hated by other gods, concentrating only on what is loved by all the gods, which we understand as his prosecution, and what is hated by all the gods, which we may understand as the death of his labourer at the hands of his father. Euthyphro has agreed that they should examine this definition or account of the holy, but he also said that he saw nothing wrong with it. So Socrates carries on. Tach ogethe beltionis ometha, enoeson garto toionde, ara to hosion hoti hosionestin philetai hupoton theon, hoti philetai hosionestin. Uk oid hoti leges, O Socrates. We'll soon know better, my good man, for I have in mind some such thing. Is the holy, because it is something holy, loved by the gods, or is it because it is loved by the gods that it is something holy? I don't know what you're saying, Socrates. Socrates is asking a simple question of cause and effect. Is there something which is holy and therefore loved by the gods simply because it is holy? Or is there something loved by the gods which is therefore considered holy because anything loved by the gods is holy? Modern philosophers refer to this question as Euthyphro's dilemma, and you can find lots of interesting arguments which are developed from this question in Wikipedia, among other places. I'm not going to go into any of those here because they have nothing to do with Plato's dialogue, and by extension with Plato himself. Just for the record, this use of dilemma is anachronistic. Plato never uses the word dilemma at all, and when it is used in later classical literature, dilemma means an ambiguous question. The sense of dilemma here, in the modern sense, dilemma, is a two-part question, the horns of which are both unsatisfactory, they both lead to problematic conclusions. Heuristic questions are often of this form. For example, who learns, the person who doesn't know or the person who does know? Whichever option the victim chooses, he will be wrong. These heuristic questions work because they exclude the middle. People learn, for example, based on things already learnt. The person who learns isn't someone who knows nothing and isn't the person who knows everything. It's someone who knows a bit. Plato's Socrates doesn't even call this sort of question a dilemma. The present question doesn't have an excluded middle and isn't heuristic. It's simply asking which is the cause, which is the effect. Is the holy what it is because it is loved by the gods, or is what is loved by the gods because it is holy? We can already see where this is going. If the holy is holy simply because it is loved by the gods, we still don't know what the holy itself is. We don't know why the gods love this thing. If what is loved by the gods is loved by the gods because it is holy, in other words, the gods love the holy, again, we don't know what the holy is. The point is simple enough, but Plato has Socrates spend a lot of time on this, so there must be more to this argument than first appears. Allego perasomai sephesteron phrasai, legomenti pheromenon kai pheron, kai agomenon kai agon, kai horomenon kai horon, kai pantata taiauta manthanes hoti hetera elelon esti, kai he hetera. Ego gemoi toko manthanen, Well, I will try to say more clearly. We say that something is borne or carried, and there is something carrying, and something being led, and something leading, and something seen, and something seeing. And you understand that all the such things as these, that they are different from each other, and in what way they are different. I do indeed, I seem to understand. Socrates is talking about active and passive participles, as in English we have breaking and broken. The passive participles being used here are like saying in English being broken, and not simply broken. Being broken is continuous. So the examples are really being carried and carrying, being led and leading, being seen and seeing. All of the participles are in the neuter singular. They describe a thing. So the only difference between the pairs is in voice, active and passive. Euthyphro says that he understands that they are different and in what way they are different, but he doesn't actually show that he understands here. Socrates carries on as if Euthyphro does understand. Ukun kai philuminon tiestin kai tutu heteron to philun poskar u. So there is also something being loved. I'm using two words for the one participle in Greek, being loved. And different from this, the thing loving. And Euthyphro says, how not? This is obvious. Up till now, Socrates has been describing something. He's been careful to use a participle, and he's used the word ti, something. So he's been saying something being loved, but now in this sentence he uses a new formula, the definite article with a participle, tophilun, the thing loving. This is a little similar to what has been going on earlier with hosion, holy. If we say hosionti, that is something holy. It's a particular, an individual. But if we say tohosion, this also sounds like a particular, and this time a definite one, the holy thing. But it is also the abstract, the holy, holiness. And without warning Euthyphro, this is exactly what Socrates is doing here as well. He's turning these activities into abstractions. The thing loving, as Euthyphro understands it, is also loving in the abstract.